Hi, it's Barry Joyce from Smart and welcome to this video. Now, in this series of videos, we're going through the categories for CSCS test in 2025, and hopefully I'm going to give you some tips and some hints on how to pass. Now, if you've been following the videos, we've been going through mock tests, and in this set of series, we're going through the categories. Now, if you have been following the videos, there are approximately 711-ish questions on a CSCS test. You are going to get 50. Now, the 50 questions are broken down into the categories, as you can see on there. Them are the categories. And today, what we're going to be looking at is the manual handling category. Now, if you have a look here, there are 28 questions in this category. You're going to get 3 of the following questions that we are going to get, and hopefully, like I said, give you some tips along the way. So, when you just click OK, now, what I do is, again, I strongly recommend you read the questions out for your CSCS test. For all mock tests and all category tests and training that I do, I will get the computer to read them out, and I will read the answers out and then hopefully give you the correct answer. I'm not guaranteed to get the correct answers all the time, but hopefully I will and give you some tips along the way. So here's a way for question 1 of 28.
You need to move a load that might be too heavy for you. What 3 methods could you use? Ask someone to help you. Use an aid, such as a trolley or wheelbarrow. Test the load's weight by picking it up for a short time. Drag the load to avoid lifting it. Divide the load into smaller loads if possible.
Okay, so for this question, it's asking for 3. We just need to drag them into the boxes. Well, a good way to do this is, this one is pretty straightforward. If you just drag that one across, because if you can, you're going to ask for help. Always try to avoid manual handling by using a trolley or a wheelbarrow. And then, if need be, then you're going to try and divide the load into smaller loads. Now, if you just have a look at the 2 answers that's left, they just don't make really much sense. So this is a good way to do it for your test. So I'm going to stick with these answers, and then I'm going to mark them. And there we go.
What 2 things are important for the use of manual handling lifting aids? The lifting aid must be designed for the task. The lifting aid can only be used outside. The user must hold a CSCS card. Lifting aids must not be more than 6 months old. Users must be trained in the correct use of the lifting aid.
Okay, so for this one we need the 2 answers, and there's quite a lot of key words that sticks out in this one. So following on from other videos, anything that says designed, it's always going to be the answer because it's there for a reason. So they must be designed for the task. And just scrolling down, I'm looking at this one here. I'm going to drag it across. Users must be trained. Anything that says trained, authorised, competent, pick it. Sometimes it might have all 3. It might just have trained. It might have authorised. It was always going to be the answer.
What are 2 risks of carrying a load in cold, damp conditions? The route you take could be slippery. You will need to work more quickly to warm up. Your ability to carry the load safely will be reduced. The load will feel lighter due to the cold conditions. The load will be easier to carry.
Okay, so risks, not hazards. So we're looking for 2 risks. A risk is something that has the potential that will cause harm. So the route you could take could be slippy. So I'm looking at that one. Much warmer ability to leave the load will be reduced. And possibly that one, the load will feel lighter. No, the load will be easier to carry. No, so I'm going with A and C.
If you need to move a load that is heavier on one side than the other, how should you pick it up? With the heavy side away from you. With the heavy side on your strong arm. With the heavy side on your weak arm. with the heavy side towards you.
Okay, so if you can imagine, if you're lifting a weight, then the easiest way is to have the heavy side towards you to prevent you from rolling to the left or to the right or rolling forward. So the answer is D.
Which three of the following factors must you think about to lift a load safely? Its size and shape, its weight, what the value of it is, how to grip or hold it firmly, whether the contents are insured.
Okay, so factors, so let's drag the size and shape. I think that would be a factor. The weight, I think, would definitely be a factor. The value, not really. How to grip it and hold it. Yeah, so just look at the two that's left, and again, they don't really make much sense, so I'm going to stick with them three.
What is an advantage of adopting safe manual handling methods? You can leave work earlier that day. You can increase your strength and lift heavier loads. You can lift heavier and awkward loads more often. You can protect your back, reducing the risk of injury.
Yeah, nice straightforward one. It's got to be D, hasn't it? You're going to protect your back.
Which part of the body is most likely to be injured when lifting heavy loads?
Okay, so we have an image here. So what we need to do is click on the part that is going to be injured. So as you can see, it's only highlighting the shoulders, the knees and the back. So in this case, it is the back.
If you need to reach above your head to place a load or lower a load to the floor, which of these is not true? You can safely handle more weight than usual. It will be more difficult to keep your back straight. You will put extra stress on your arms and your back. The load will be more difficult to control.
Okay, so this is a great example of a question. This is why I recommend to get there to read them out, because the key word there is not true. Now, if you're like me and you skim read and you miss that not true, you might think it's a true, then you're going to get the wrong answer, and that could be the difference between a pass or fail. So which one is not true? Well, of course, it's going to be you can safely handle more weight than usual. That ain't true.
You need to lift a load that is not heavy, but it is so big that you cannot see in front of you. What should you do? Ask someone to help carry the load so that you can both see ahead.
Excuse me.
Get someone to walk in front of you and tell others to get out of the way. Get someone to walk next to you and give directions. Move the load on your own. It is so large that anyone in your way is sure to see it.
Okay, nice straightforward one. You're going to ask somebody to give you the hand so you can both see it.
Which of the following is the best method to help minimise the risk of injury when moving loads on site? Make the area flatter before performing the task. Remove all awkward shaped loads from the site. Use lifting aids wherever possible on site. Ask a trained person to carry the load.
Yeah, so using lifting aids where possible. So always avoid manual handling by using lifting aids.
You need to move a load that might be too heavy for you. You cannot divide it into smaller parts and there is no one to help you. What should you do? Try to lift it using the correct lifting methods. Lift and move the load quickly to avoid injury. Get a forklift truck, even though you have not been trained to use it. Do not move the load until you have a safe way of doing it.
Yeah, again, nice straightforward one. You're not going to move the load till there's a safe way to move it.
The acronym TILE, T-I-L-E, stands for what? Task, individual, load, environment. Treat, individual, lower, evaluate. Train, individual, lift, environment. Temperature, individual, lighting, evaluate.
So TILE, the acronym TILE, actually stands for Task, Individual, Load and Environment. So it is the task that you are doing, the individual capabilities, the load you're lifting, and also the environment that you're in.
A wheel comes off a trolley you are using to move a heavy load a long distance. What should you do? Drag the trolley on your own for the rest of the journey. Carry the load for the rest of the journey. Ask someone to help you pull the trolley for the rest of the journey. Find another way to move the load and complete the journey.
Okay, so yeah, of course you're going to find another way or to move the load.
What is the outcome of wearing a back support belt when lifting? You can lift any load without being injured. You could face the same risk of injury. You will crush your backbone and damage it. You can safely lift more than usual.
So when you're wearing a back support belt, you could actually face the same risk of injury.
What must all workers do under the regulations for manual handling? Follow their employer's safe systems of work. Make a list of all the heavy things they have to carry. Wear back support belts when lifting things at work. Lift any size of load once the risk assessment has been done.
Okay, so remember the key word in here then is safe system of work. So things like risk assessment method statement, safe system of work, permit to enter, hotworks permit. These are generally the answers to the questions.
What should you do if you need to carry a load down a steep slope? Carry the load on your shoulder. Walk backwards down the slope to help you balance. Put the load down and let gravity move it down the slope. Assess whether you can still carry the load safely.
Yeah, straightforward, you're going to assess it.
What does it mean if you have to twist or turn your body when you lift and place a load? You must wear a back brace in this situation. The weight you can lift safely will be more than usual. The weight you can lift safely will be less than usual. You will be able to lift the same weight as usual.
So if you can imagine, if you have to twist or turn your body, in particular if you're lower down, then the weight is going to be reduced, so you're going to be able to lift less than usual.
What is the main reason for using lifting aids when undertaking a manual handling activity? Training is not required to use them. They help reduce the risk of personal injury. They are expensive and should be used. Any load can be lifted when using them.
Of course, they're going to reduce the risk of injury.
What should you do if you have been told how to lift a heavy load, but you think there is a better way to do it? Ask your workmates to decide which way you should do it. Forget your idea and do it the way you have been told. Discuss your idea with your supervisor before lifting. Ignore what you have been told and do it your way.
Like everything, you're always going to open for discussion, encourage communication, so you're going to try and discuss it with your supervisor before you're lifting it.
Who should be involved in planning the safe system of work for your manual handling? You and your colleagues. You and your supervisor or employer. The Health and Safety Executive, HSE. Your supervisor or employer.
Right, okay, again, people could trip up on this one. Who should be involved in the planning the safe system of work for your? So the key word there is your. So it's going to be you and your supervisor and employer. So just remember again, if you've been following the series, Health and Safety Executive, i.e. HSE, comes up quite often in the answers. Never pick out the exceptions of 3 times. One is if you contract Weil's disease, that's leptospirosis in the health and welfare, then you would have to contact the HSE. Certain accidents have to be recorded to HSE. And the third time you would pick it is if you are injured and off work for more than 7 days, you have to inform HSE. Any other time, don't pick it.
You are using a wheelbarrow to move a heavy load. Is this manual handling? Yes, you are still manually handling the load. Only if the load slips out of the wheelbarrow. No, because the wheelbarrow is carrying the load. Only if the wheelbarrow is pulled instead of pushed.
Okay, anything involving pushing, shoving, pulling is manual handling. This also includes wheelbarrows, so yes, you are still manually handling the load.
When should workers be provided with training on safe lifting techniques? During their job interview. After manual handling or lifting. Only when there is a budget to pay a trainer. Before manual handling or lifting.
Straightforward, nice and easy.
If you are required to lift a heavy load, what must your employer do? Complete a risk assessment of the task. Watch you while you lift the load. Nothing. Lifting loads is a part of your job. Make sure that a supervisor is there to advise you while you lift.
Yeah, so they're going to complete the risk assessment of the task. Now, one of the biggest causes of injury in any workplace, really, not even just the construction site, slips, trips and falls, and poor manual handling. So poor manual handling, it affects your musculoskeletal, which is your back and your hips. Okay, so risk assessments must be completed prior to doing any form of manual handling.
Which part of the body is most likely to be injured when lifting heavy loads?
Yeah, and I'm sure we just had that one. So again, it's a bonus one. Right, so this one's slightly different look. So it's the same image, pretty much the same question, but you've got to click on it. So remember the last one had highlighted it. It's exactly the same. So what part of the body? It's going to be your back. So make sure you just click in the back.
If you have to move a load while you are sitting down, how much can you lift safely? Less than the usual amount. The usual amount. Twice the usual amount. 3 times the usual amount.
Okay, so mentioned earlier on, less than the usual amount.
What is the main reason for ensuring safe manual handling techniques in the workplace? To complete the job quickly. To prevent personal injury. To satisfy the client's requirements. To prepare for safety inspections.
Of course, it's going to be to prevent. You're never going to stop all injuries, but it's all about prevention.
Your new job involves some manual handling, but an old injury means that you have a weak back. What should you do? Tell your supervisor that lifting might be a problem. Tell your supervisor you can lift anything on site. Try some lifting, then tell your supervisor about your back. Tell your supervisor about your back if it gets injured again.
Okay, of course, you're just going to inform your supervisor that it may be a problem.
Which one of the following could cause back and musculoskeletal problems for a worker? Good planning to reduce lifting heavy loads. Reducing the maximum lifting weight. Positioning materials away from the work area. Using machines for lifting operations whenever possible.
Okay, so which one of the following could cause back and musculoskeletal problems? Okay, so good planning, no. Reducing, there's no maximum lifting weight. Positioning materials away from the work area. Using lifting aids, nope. So it's got to be C, isn't it? Positioning them away from the work area. Okay, so that's that category now done. So 28 questions from your manual handling. Just remember the keywords that we went through. And out of those 28 questions, just remember you're going to be getting 3 on your CSCS test. Okay, so I hope you're getting a few little tips out of that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.